Some of the most beautiful black actresses of our time started working in the 1970s golden age of black entertainment media. Today, I have a list of 20 of the most prolific and most beautiful black actresses from that period. Talented and gorgeous, let's honor their magnificent careers in the entertainment industry together. These iconic stars gave Black Hollywood its name. Don't watch from the sidelines. Click subscribe to celebrate and explore these dazzling and fearless pioneers who dared to challenge the status quo. A lot of these actresses will of course have their start in modeling before breaking into acting. Jayne Kennedy was the first African-American woman to win the title of Miss Ohio, and she has been trailblazing as a black woman in the industry ever since. Her modeling career gave her a kickstart into the acting industry, where she was featured in films like Cover Girls, Body and Soul, and Mysterious Island of Beautiful Women. She often played the put-together, attractive, and calm-minded character in the films, and her charm and talent were shown through her work. Jayne is 72 years old. Lola Fana was once the most paid actress in all of Las Vegas. In her prime, she was raking in $150,000 a week. Nowadays, that would be worth $1.2 million. She saw more money in a week than others could see in a lifetime. She was a talent from a young age and soon took over Europe and the United States with her singing and acting skills. She could speak both Italian and English fluently. This, along with her charm and beauty, made her a sight to behold, and she always gave the performance of a lifetime. She is one of the actresses credited with bringing musicals into full force internationally. Lola is now 81 years old. Someone once said that Diana Ross is a pivotal example of what talent, ambition, hard work, and focus can produce. I agree with them. She was a talented and unstoppable force of nature. At points in her career, she would isolate herself to ensure that she could focus on perfecting her art. On her very first acting debut, she won a Golden Globe and was nominated for an Academy Award. Yes, on her very first performance ever. As Billie Holiday in the film Lady Sings the Blues, she was showered with awards. She is 79 years old and continued being the flawlessly gorgeous living icon that she is. Beverly Johnson was the first black woman to ever be featured on a Vogue cover. She was a professional model, climbing the ranks of a tough and merciless industry, and worked her way to the top. Some of her earliest works in acting had to do with her experience in the modeling industry. Soon, her talent and beauty were leveraged for more intricate roles in films like The Cover Girl Murders and 54. In 2012, she got her own show called Beverly's Full House, where she details the inner workings of her life outside of the spotlight. Beverly Johnson is 71 years old and still thriving as a positive influence on many black women in the modeling industry. Truly a living icon. Another common theme among black actresses is their participation in mainly blaxploitation films. In the 60s and 70s, it was some of the only work they could get in the spotlight of the film industry. Brenda was one of the most visible black women in this genre, and mostly only black women who were considered to be attractive were chosen to act in these films. Her most popular films were Black Gun, Cleopatra, and Drum. All films find a way to center their plot around her astounding beauty at some point. After her hit single, Band of Gold, Freda Payne was catapulted into superstardom by Hollywood. She was then cast in a few films, some of them not so kid-friendly, and hosted a talk show for some time. The talk show was called Today's Black Woman. On this show, notable black women of the time were invited on to celebrate their success and accolades in the industry. Freda may have strayed off of her original career path over time, but she did return to music, and she continues to work in this industry today. She is 81 years old. Every time period has its beauty standards. In the 60s, the look was called heroin chic, and Vanetta McGee succeeded in the industry because she fit this standard perfectly. She was in some of the most popular blaxploitation films of the time, the most popular being her performance in Blackula. Except, she absolutely hated the term blaxploitation. She once told the LA Times that she thought the term was like racism. She preferred the term black film genre. However, her terminology never caught on and her perspective on the films was never picked up by the public. She was an advocate for African-American-centric films and wanted to see that reflected in the culture through the way her acting was perceived. Vanetta passed away at the age of 65 in 2010. Another fashion model gone actress, Marlene was most famous for her playing Ganja Mehta in the 1973 film Ganja and Hess. She is also credited as an animator, although there isn't any record of any animations she has worked on. She played Janet Lawson in Sanford and Son. Marlene and Jim Brown co-starred in the film Slaughter. Marlene passed away at the age of 85 in May of 2023, and on that exact day, Jim Brown passed away as well. In her last interview before her passing, Cicely said, "When I first get a script, I'm interested in why they chose me. Who was that character and why did they choose me to play it?" Once again, she started her career as a model and fell into acting as her fame grew. But over time she realized that her artistic path was leaning more into acting than modeling, and she decided to accept. That's how we got gems like Wilma and Sounder. She was always dedicated to playing the character of a strong black woman. In 2016, President Obama awarded her the highest civilian honor, the Medal of Freedom. Tamara's breakout role was as Cleopatra in the 1973 film Cleopatra Jones. This was meant to be an aside from her career in modeling, but it soon became the main part of her career. She was another one of blaxploitation's favorite actresses who helped make the genre what it is today by playing female characters who had more control of their story. She passed away at the age of 59 in 2006. Most famous for her performance in The Wiz and The Cotton Club, Thelma Carpenter is the Broadway star who lit up any stage she walked on in the 1970s. She wasn't even in that many films, and yet the public remembers her fondly. Her performances have stayed with many people for their entire lives. She was charming on stage and screen, and her kindly beauty was unforgettable. And because she couldn't just have one talent, Thelma was also an American jazz singer. Thelma passed away at the age of 75 in 1997. Another woman who found her acting roots in the blaxploitation film industry is Judy Pace. In her modeling career, she auditioned for Ebony Fashion Fair and became the youngest model for the show's national tour. She was most popular for her appearances in Cotton Comes to Harlem and Cool Breeze. Judy is 81 years old. Denise Nicholas was a prominent actor in black television shows from the 60s to the 90s. She appeared in A Piece of Action and Blackula. It seems all of the titular black female stars of the 70s were in the film Blackula. She dropped out of law and advertising before getting her career in acting. She decided that she would join the civil rights movement and wanted to be a part of making art through acting for media created for the black community. She is 79 years old. Nichelle's portrayal of Uhura in Star Trek was significant for the black community. She was one of the first and most prominent black actresses to be featured in such a large mainstream role in a well-known franchise. Even more so because it was in the science fiction genre, which had little to no black representation at the time. Nichelle passed away at the age of 89 in July of 2022. Katie Lester got her start singing in nightclubs. She got an offer to go on tour with Cab Calloway, which gave her the chance to travel all of the US and parts of Europe. She released a hit single named Love Letters during this tour. This fame is what gave her the opportunity to start working in acting, and she got a chance to appear in the cast of Days of Our Lives and the 1972 film Blackula. You may have also spotted her playing Hester Sue from Little House on the Prairie. Kennedy is 89 years old. When Juanita was asked to describe her experience in Hollywood, she said, "I went through a hell of a lot, you know, being black and all, and beautiful." She spent her acting career persevering and fighting stereotypes. She appeared in over 70 films. In 2021, she finally received her very own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Juanita passed away in 2014 at the age of 99 on New Year's Day. Gloria Henry is blaxploitation personified. She acted in many blaxploitation films that influenced a change in the way female characters are portrayed in films. Her strong bodice and gentle feminine energy became the standard character design for female characters in action films. Films like Savage Sisters in 1974 changed cinema for women forever, and Gloria was a part of that wonderful project. She was also a part of the beginning of a merge between classical blaxploitation films and Chinese kung fu action films. Over time, the black community found a way to integrate these two styles and make something unique. One of the earliest examples of these films is Black Belt Jones. Gloria is 75 years old. Pam Grier was Hollywood's first female action hero. Blaxploitation films may have been considered more violent and explicitly sexual, but they also gave female characters more autonomous roles. She is often called the Queen of Blaxploitation films. She was in so many of them, and she was the archetype that many women who came after her tried to imitate in their acting. The film Coffee knocked James Bond out of first place in film theaters when it was released. Roslyn refused to portray a stereotypical black woman in any of her roles. Throughout her entire career, she pushed the boundaries for black women and cinema in general, by only choosing to play the roles of characters she connected with. She only wanted to play complex characters. This outstanding dedication won her 5 NACPA nominations for her roles. Roslyn passed away at the age of 56 in 1995. Not a lot of dark-skinned black women were put in the spotlight of beauty in the 70s because people believed they didn't uphold the beauty standards that the power majority of society would like. Teresa broke that standard by being talented, proud, and gorgeous. Her mere presence on screen was a step in the right direction for the representation of black women in media. Click on this next video to see more of your favorite actors and actresses of old black Hollywood and find out how they influenced the industry.